Everybody, welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to respond to a comment from Marissa Overson about the Heartland and the Midwest. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you end up liking it, hit the notification bell. Make sure to leave your comments. So last night, we found out that our neighboring town, our sister town, has this really awesome Christmas light display. Just like in this, like, I don't know if it's like a little park. I'd never really been to this part of the town, but it was just like a small little area, but it was put on by, I guess, the city, I think, and it was free. And we went there, and there was a family that was already there. When we showed up, they left, and then we had our time for probably about like 15 minutes or something like that, just by ourselves in this place. And then later another family showed up, and then we left. But we're probably going to go back like either tonight or the next day. But it's like a really, somehow or another, they put this together, and it has like that typical playlist of songs that are synchronized to the lights, right? So I don't know if that's like a package that you can buy from somewhere. It's already all pre-recorded, but whatever the case, like, it was really fun. I would have done a video there, but I probably would have gotten a copyright strike because of the music that was playing. Like, they had Elvis and stuff like that, singing Blue Christmas and whatever. But it was so cool just being there, just me and my family, and it was amazing. So here's the comment from Marissa Overson. And Marissa, thank you for the comment. Ron Meldrum, he was an expert of the Book of Mormon Heartland model, believes the geographic location where Laconius evacuated and gathered the Nephites together for protection from the Gadianton robbers is in the southernmost tip of Illinois. This is due to the natural protection of the Ohio and Mississippi rivers, and also ancient archaeological sites and forts that span across the area. See 3 Nephi verse 3. Interestingly, this is the exact location of the eclipse intersection. He believes this Book of Mormon connection is a sign that the time of preparation is over in 2024. It may happen prior, but peace in the land will definitely not be found after the second eclipse. Places of refuge and safety, Zion, will be necessary in the last days. This is just his interpretation, but I found it noteworthy. Yeah, now I actually went to one of his I guess presentations back when I was still living at home. My dad, I guess, like, followed him, and I don't really have an opinion either way. Like, the two camps are the people that believe that the Book of Mormon happened in the Heartland and mostly in North America, in that area, and then those that believe that it happened in Mesoamerica. And I think there's probably a couple other theories. Like, I don't really have a strong opinion either way. From what I remember, he made actually a pretty good case for it, but I don't care. When it comes down to it, I don't really care. So I'm open-minded on that topic. Yeah, it could have happened in the Heartland, sure. But you'd have to, like, go watch his stuff to see, the evidence that he puts forth. But the part that I am interested in is the Heartland. Okay, because I think it is a place of safety with what's going on in the world. Like, if you look at the United States, these coastal areas, even though there's a lot of great people there, we have Troy Abels, my friend from the Last Dispensation channel. He lives in California. I think Brother Guerrero lives in California. And we have a lot of temples and a lot of members that live in California, but these places are more on the wicked side, aren't they? You think about the New England, you think about the whole West Coast. So I don't know. Of course, you can't just make a blanket statement like that, but I don't know. It's kind of generally true. And from my own experience, having moved from Utah and Arizona to Kansas, like, there's definitely a difference in culture, and I feel like people are a lot more humble and less secularized, I guess you could say. So it really could be that maybe there was kind of like a foreshadowing or a pattern there, if Ron Meldrum is right. that coming to the Heartland is spiritually a safer place to be. And from what I've noticed, I really think that there's a type of migration going on that's being driven by house prices, because we all know that California and Oregon and Washington, they're really expensive. And then, so anyway, you have a lot of Californians that for a long time now, at least since I was still living in Utah and probably since I was a teenager, you had a lot of Californians coming to places like Utah and the other Intermountain West states, which in turn, I think, is driving those house prices up. And so now it's harder for people from those states to stay there. And I've noticed, at least now, this is just anecdotal evidence, but I personally have noticed a bunch of people that I know that have moved to the Midwest. For example, when I was in the Army, I served in Fort Hood, Texas. There was a guy, he was a captain, and I was just a specialist. So I was enlisted, he was an officer, but we knew each other because we were in the same ward. Well, after the Army, he went back to Utah, and then he saw my Facebook and how we were homesteading and all that stuff. And it like inspired him to do the same thing. Him and his wife were already thinking about it. And so they ended up moving to Missouri. So it's kind of incredible. And there's been others like that. So I'm pretty sure that maybe the Lord has a hand in this, most likely. We do know that the Heartland is the location for New Jerusalem, as far as like the center place goes, where the temple's going to be in Jackson County, Missouri. For as long as I can remember, there's always been talk about like, is there going to be a day when the church all goes back to Missouri? Is the prophet going to announced during conference, oh, okay, it's time to go back to Missouri? Of course, that I don't think that's going to happen, but I think in some sense it kind of will, not through the prophet, but by natural means. We know that wherever you live, no matter what country you live in, that's where Zion is to be established. But also, I think at the same time, the Lord probably is moving some people in to the New Jerusalem area, into the surrounding area. So I think in a sense, there kind of is a gathering that's taking place around the center place of New Jerusalem. I could be wrong. That's just kind of speculation, and that's based on my own observations, but it kind of makes sense. I heard somewhere that this is really bad. I should have the reference for it, but I heard somewhere that like at the beginning of the earth, it was the waters that was blessed, and then the land that was cursed, and then in the last days it would be reversed. And I can't remember who said this, but it kind of makes sense, because back in those days, if you were going to be part of the church, right, let's say that you had like converted and you wanted to be with God's people, you pretty much had to go to like somewhere where there was civilization, right, where people could actually survive. And that's typically along like rivers, or it's along the ocean, right? You think about Israel and Jerusalem, like that's like right up there against the Mediterranean Sea. So in those days, like you had to go to where civilization was. You couldn't just like go to the middle of Asia or out in the boonies and spiritually survive very easily. But now that we have technology, now that we have ease of transport, now that we have the internet and we can communicate really easily, now it's almost like reverse. These coastal areas and all these locations where major cities are, they have become extremely wicked areas, I would say. And now it's like you have to leave those areas and go out into the boonies or go inland, and that's where you can more easily survive spiritually and be with more humble people, people that aren't so wrapped up in the game of life and survival and all that stuff, survival of the fittest. If you want that life, you have to go to the big cities. So I don't know, that those are just my observations. I tend to think that this is going to continue. There's probably going to be more people moving in toward the Heartland. I almost wonder if this recent devotional that we had for Kansas and Oklahoma, if if it was kind of significant, because now the main purpose of it was because the church was paying for this like family history room in I can't remember. I think it's called the First Americans Museum in Oklahoma City. It's like a Native American museum, and they're paying for a family history room where people can go and they can, like, I guess, get on Family Search and do some family history work and look up their ancestors. So I think that was like the central focus of the devotional. But during that devotional, there was talk about how this is the heartland, specifically from President Nelson, and he used it as a metaphor, and I kind of wonder if there was more to it than just paying for the room in the museum. How it was almost like a special statement that this really is a special place. Now, he used it as a metaphor. He said that spiritually he wants everyone across the world to like move to their heartland, and because of the heart and where your principles are, and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm kind of butchering it. Like, I'd have to go back to my notes to see exactly what he said. But it's just interesting that he made note of that. It's also interesting that, again, as everyone knows, that he was a heart surgeon. And right now, when we're trying so hard to build Zion across the world, and men's hearts are failing them, because of all the fear in the world and everything that's going on, all this tribulation, it's perfect that we have a prophet that was a heart surgeon. And of course, he's not using those skills to to guide the church per se, but it's a perfect metaphor, and I'm pretty sure that the Lord set it up that way, just as like a indication to us of the time that we're in, and that we can trust in him to heal our hearts, our spiritual hearts. So I think there's a lot of significance in that. So that's basically all I really have to say. Thank you, Marissa, for the comment. I love that. Again, Ron Meldrum, he could be wrong, he could be right. Again, I don't really care that much. I'm sure we'll find out during the millennium where the Nephites and the Lamanites were and stuff like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was in the heartland, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it was in Mesoamerica or whatever. But the thing that I do believe is that the heartland of the United States is a special place. This is the location of the center place of New Jerusalem. It's the location of the Garden of Eden. It's the location of Adam-ondi-Ahman, where Adam and Eve went to after they were driven out of the Garden of Eden. So it's a very, very, it's a holy place, and I think more people are going to continue to move here. I would encourage you to move here if you live in Utah or Idaho or these places that already have a lot of members, or even if you're in other places, if you can, of course, pray about it. But I know it was the right decision for me and my family. It feels really good living here. There are really good people here. The land is beautiful. I feel safe here, with the exception of tornadoes. But I'm not really that worried about tornadoes. And you can find financial freedom here more than you can other places, because if you get on Zillow, you look at house prices here in Kansas, Missouri, Arkansas, Nebraska, they're nothing like, I mean, they're just phenomenal. You get so much more for your money. You not only do you get a house, but you can get outbuildings. Like if you want to do a homestead, you can get barns, and you can get workshops and have streams on your property, compared to you can't find this really in Wyoming, Montana, Utah, Arizona. Like you can, but you're going to be paying for it. It's going to be a lot of money. We couldn't, the size of the property that we have here, it's only a couple acres, but it's hard to find. Like we tried to look in Arizona, we tried to look in Utah and Wyoming and all these places, and just nothing beats the prices of here in the Midwest. So maybe something to think about. So if you guys haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Like this video if you liked it, hit the notification bell, leave your comments if you have any any opinions about this, or any comments, anything that struck you, and I'll talk to you guys later.